And welcome everybody. We're so excited to talk about how we can unleash creativity in the classroom. I appreciate any patience with me. I'm a very rarely ever use Microsoft Teams as we just don't have the same accounts that you do. So I'm just, as long as you're patient with me, we'll be good. But we're excited to share on this topic today. If at any point something is going wonky on my side, if my screen isn't showing, if you don't hear me, please let me know because otherwise I won't be aware. So we're excited to talk about how we can unleash creativity in the classroom with Canva Video Suite today. So let's dive in. I'm Liz Bostwick. I'm your Canva Learning Consultant. I'm based in upstate New York, and I'm currently working out of South Carolina. I'm also the author of Take the Leap, Ignite Our Culture of Innovation, and I partnered with Canva because both Canva and myself have a deep belief in creating meaningful and authentic experiences in the classroom, sparking creativity, and really allowing our students to demonstrate their learning in unique ways that are true to who they are. And so we can't wait to dive into how we can really spark creativity in our students. I also taught elementary. I taught grades 2 and 4 for 18 years, also worked as a tech integration specialist as well. You can connect with me on social media, and of course at Canva, we love for you to connect with us. If you're on Twitter, aka now known as X, you can connect with us at Canva EDU. All of our other social channels are just at Canva, but because Canva is widely used around the world by all industries, you're going to find that the typical Canva channels on social are going to be more broad, but this Canva EDU is going to be specific to education. Within this session today, we are going to dive into everything that you see here. And so for anybody who might be new to Canva, we will share on that. I'm not able to see the chat at the moment, but feel free in the chat to share with us just where you are on your Canva journey. So if you're brand new or if you've been using Canva for a while, feel free. I'm going to circle back to that and explore that in a bit myself, just so I can tune in. Please use the chat throughout. At some points I won't be sharing, so I'm going to try to check in the chat. Again, I just don't have the same functionality, so but I do want this to be interactive as much as possible. So for anybody who is new to Canva, what we want you to know is that Canva for Education is a visual communications platform. And what that means is that Canva provides a complete visual suite of products and templates that you can take, create, and customize, but students can too. What's great about Canva is that it is so intuitive that even our littlest learners can create in Canva. So as you see here, we do have a complete visual suite of products. So everything from Canva docs, which are going to be similar to Word docs, whiteboards that give you infinite space, presentations, social media, video. That's really what we're going to take a deep dive into today. There are print products available in Canva, and of course, you can actually create customizable URLs in websites. What I like about the websites, and just as a little side note, is that you can actually create them to be password protected, or you can create them to be so that they're not searchable on the internet, or you can have your own URL that is searchable. So lots of options. Canva for Education is free for educators K through 12 and students. And a lot of people will wonder, why is that? Hold on, let's see if this will flip back. The slide's been giving me a little bit of trouble. Hold on. There's transitions. But Canva for Education is free for educators and students K to 12, because ultimately at Canva, we do believe that learning and education is a human right, and our goal is to really empower every student to create, communicate, and collaborate in the classroom and beyond. Additionally, we know that the skills the students learn in Canva really transcend the K-12 landscape. So we're always looking at how do we foster creativity, communication, collaboration? How do we do effective check-ins with our students to know where they're at? And Canva is an amazing tool for that. Additionally, we're really fortunate because we have a lot of large businesses who also utilize Canva. You'll find that a lot of smaller entrepreneurs, even local real estate agents typically are using Canva for their signage, business cards, all of that. So because of that, Canva has no interest in ever monetizing off of schools. So we are going to be diving right into an activity within this session. So we are going to dive into a Canva whiteboard where you are going to be sharing just how students currently use video in the classroom. And if your students aren't using video yet, no worries. You can share with us how might you use video with students, how do they use, or even how do you use video yourself as an educator. So I'm going to hit escape on that one. I'm going to grab what we have as our collaboration document, and I'm just going to walk you through what that looks like. In this collaboration document here, you are going to see, if you can see along the bottom, I'm going to close this. We have several pages at the bottom. So you can see, you can toggle through different activity areas. And what we're going to do is once I share this with you, everybody's going to come in and have editing access. If you're on page 1, like you see where my cursor is, you're just going to toggle over to page 2. And what you can do is I'm going to actually just expand that to a whiteboard in Canva. It gives you infinite space. I'm going to actually just get rid of this square here because we don't really need it. And what we're going to do is if you click on the elements, you can add a sticky note. And that sticky note is going to allow you to share your thought or your idea. Now, one note on these sticky notes is that if you type in these, you might need to increase your font. So if you stretch your sticky note, it's not going to change the font size, but if you play with it up here, you can change that. So again, you're going to click the link when I send it, hop onto page 2, and if you click elements on the side, which is the second tab down, you'll be able to grab a sticky note and then share just one idea that you might have. Let's see, we're going to stop presenting for a second. I'm going to grab my link. Okay. Let's drop this into the chat. And we have 90 people. So let me get one more. You're going to want one more link than that. So let me grab one others. So I'm actually going to break you guys. This might get a little bit busy. So I do have 2. We're going to break you guys up into groups. So I'm just going to do a duplicate. If you've already clicked the link, some of you may have, some of you haven't. What I'd like to do is this. If your birthday's in the summer or fall, what I'd like you to do is click that first link. If your birthday is in winter or spring, I'd like you to grab this second link that I'm going to send to you. And if it seems too busy, I'm actually just going to add a third link. It can't hurt. That way, if anybody is newer to Canva and you haven't collaborated in here, sometimes it can feel overwhelming to people. So if anybody feels like it's too busy, I'm going to send a third link so we kind of have an alternate. Also, if I have people who are new in the session to Canva and anything ever feels overwhelming, please feel free to know that you can just watch, you can participate at your comfort level. So just know that too. Okay, so I put 3 links there and we'll see if we can just kind of grab those, and I'm going to go back to sharing. Okay. Now I'm going to be going between tabs. So if ever it looks like I'm sharing my entire screen to me, if by any chance it ever seems like you don't see the tabs that I'm clicking on, please feel free to just let me know that. But I see in our documents, I do see that we do have people in these. I see Amy is adding a sticky note, which is fantastic. So grab one of those 3 links. If you're on the first page, toggle over to the second. I see Maria and Nora, Julian. Julian is my son's name. His birthday is next Friday. Wonderful name. So if you haven't been in a Canva whiteboard today, this also gives you that experience. I do just want to preface with sometimes when something is new to people, people can feel like, oh, this might be uncomfortable. One thing I want to always encourage us is to kind of embrace that. So anything that might feel uncomfortable, just know that just like we learned to ride a bike, sometimes things might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but the more we give it a go, the better it is. Also, there's nothing you can hurt in Canva right now. So you can go ahead. I'm actually going to delete this thing though. This might be in the way. What is this? Oh. So if you can, I'm just going to backtrack with some of the directions here. If you can, once you're in page 2, you're just going to click Elements, select a sticky note from the tray, and then go ahead and type. Remember that you can increase your font size simply by clicking on the font, and up at the top toolbar, you'll be able to increase font just like you would in anything. So we're just sharing ideas for how might you use video in the classroom, or how do you use video in the classroom? And so that might be for you, it could be for students. All right, we've got quite a few responses. Yeah, students can use video to make projects and to answer questions. Record themselves. I love that. I think the recording can be so powerful. Just as a side note with the sticky notes, you don't need to add text from the side. It'll already have text box embedded in the sticky note. And I love that, Veronica, the students can present their projects and talk about themselves, hear themselves read. Yeah, for reading fluency, just making connections. Anytime we can get our students to speak and be articulate and be able to explain their thinking or a process, we know that we're making better opportunities to deepen those connections, to introduce a topic. Beautiful. Check for understanding. I'm going to go to my third group. And you guys are doing a great job just kind of breaking yourselves up where it feels right. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, public speaking, presenting. Teachers can use it to model, leave instructions. Boy, you guys are right on top of it. I love working with educators with such great ideas. Okay, so feel free to keep sharing there. Now, whatever link you clicked, if you can keep that tab open, that would be great, because we're going to return to this. Now, just a side note, I am noticing that some people are adding pages, probably inadvertently, because it might be like certain people, if we're new, sometimes that can happen. So how that's happening, just so you know, is that if you click between the pages and click the plus sign, it will add a page in. So I just deleted some, but it's no big deal either way. But I love that you guys are adding your responses in here and everything. So, and again, you guys are diving in. You may not have ever used a Canva whiteboard today. So super proud of everybody. Let's dive back into the presentation, and we're going to go deeper into video and how you can create in Canva. But again, just so honored to be here with you guys. And I love that it's working for everybody to collaborate, especially because I'm not always accustomed to using Teams. Okay, so heading back into our agenda here. Let's dive into a video overview and just get an idea of what Canva video is. We're going to hit on Canva video features, terminology, formats, and then of course, you're going to explore and create. One thing to keep in mind is that 95% of messages in video are retained. So think about how often we're scrolling or our students are scrolling and how captivating video can be, right? I think about even watching my own teenagers, and sometimes they are going through I can see them scrolling and it's like video after video. So what we can do is, of course, we don't want our students just constantly consuming video, but anytime we can flip that and shift from consumers to creators with video and help them to see we can show our understanding is powerful. So Canva really is an amazing tool for creativity and to be able to just really deepen engagement. So let's explore some of the key features of Canva video that do make it a bit different. First up, if you've created in Canva, you'll know that we have the drag and drop editor. So you can very easily drag and drop slides. You can remove backgrounds from videos to allow for those green screen capabilities. And of course, you can always do a timeline to thumbnail switch. There is a recording studio in Zoom or in Canva, so you can very easily add a recording, and we do have 2 different recording studios. Also, you can resize any design. So if you create a presentation and you decide, hey, I want to turn this into a video, you can. Or if you create something for like an Instagram size and you want to turn that to a presentation, you can resize anything. And of course, we have lots of great transitions, such as Match and Move, which is one of our featured newer transitions. So as you can see here, just like I said, if you've created a presentation in Canva, you can create a video. You're really taking slides, you're dropping it in, and probably the newer things, if you haven't created with video, it's really just going to be about splitting how you add audio, but it is super intuitive. In fact, it's funny, I worked with 2nd graders locally on insect research reports. They were creating presentations, but I would say about 50-50 of the class, half of them created presentations, half ended up creating videos, and we didn't really even teach how to edit a video, but they were picking up on it. So keep in mind that even sometimes if adults are apprehensive with technology, as long as we are there to support our students, it's a great culture builder to let our students discover some of that too, because then we can empower them to say, hey, why don't you go up and show your classmates? Can you teach this to everybody else? So it's just a really great way to really empower them as student leaders too. Again, we have those video background removers. So if you didn't want to use a green screen, no problem. You can remove the background of any video and you can put a new video background behind. You can also go from the timeline to thumbnail switch. What that means is you can shorten these frames so that you can see them, you can maneuver them a little bit easier. So sometimes if something is like 1 minute long or an hour long, I might chunk it up so that I can see my thumbnails a little bit easier. And again, that recording studio, this is truly one of, I think in Canva, my favorite feature. I've always found a lot of power in helping students to understand how they can add recordings. It's such a great way for them to express themselves, to explain, and just deepen understanding. I also find that when we can share these back with families, we also just make better connections, right? When the school community, families can see and hear what our students are doing, it makes it much more understanding to the amazing work that educators are doing. And here's just a quick little example on how you can resize any design. Again, you just hit resize, and it's sometimes you do have to make some adjustments. It's not always going to land in the exact spot that you might want it, especially if something's much wider, but it will transfer everything neatly, which is nice. That match and move transition, what that is, we have lots of transitions. Most of them you'll be familiar with. The match and move, what's unique about this is that if you see these yellow triangular lines, what's happening is if you see that element in both, so the yellow lines would be an element, it's like a design graphic. And so when you put that transition of match and move in, it gives an appearance of more like an animation. So it matches that element and moves it across the screen. All right, guys. No one will be tested. We have this long list of video terminology, but this will be here to reference. Following up with our time today, I will be sharing just a Canva website that I created specifically for your district. And what we have in there is you're going to have a link to all of these slides. So don't feel like you need to take pictures or screenshots. You're going to receive everything here, plus the recording, of course, and additional resources. Also, if anybody's in this session and feels like, hey, this went so quickly, or I feel like I need to back up, the good thing is that we also have a self-paced course. But here, what I want to hit on is I am going to demo some of these, the spit, the splice, the split, the trim or cut. I'm going to hit on those. And the timeline, that's really just showing the sequence of video clips. Some of these are more extra, so I'm going to let those kind of exist right now just so that you can refer to those at your own time, but I'm going to focus more on just the applicable piece of editing a video. So feel free to add to the chat right now on why should you use Canva for video creation in the classroom. If you have any thoughts on that, if you want to converse or add comments in the chat, please feel free. And I will share that some of the benefits of creating video in Canva is the fact that you can bring in your own media. So I think that's really powerful, the fact that our students can make their own recordings. They can take pictures of the work that they're proud of. They can even take pictures of something, maybe they know that they want to put more effort into, and then do a reflection on that as well. Additionally, in Canva, you can easily animate everything. So I'm going to show you how you can do page animations, but also individual animations. So there's really some cool projects that you could create in here. And of course, with anything in Canva, you can spice it up with any of the elements. Whenever you're creating videos in Canva, keep in mind that we do have over 6 million Safe for School videos. There are 89,000 sound effects and audio tracks, and of course, millions of high quality elements and photos. You can also collaborate and create feedback loops in real time. For example, any of you that are using those sticky notes, keep in mind that you could add a comment to somebody else's there. So a couple of things on how do you find video templates in Canva. So I'm going to go through some of this. I'm going to do more of a demo, and then you guys are going to go and explore, and then we will practice if we can share back. So first off, if we're looking for video specific templates, you can always go to your template banner in Canva. What that means is from the home page of Canva, you're going to see all of the products within the visual suite. Right here, you do have the video icon, and that video icon, when you click on it, you're going to see all different video sizes. So whether it's a Facebook video or a YouTube video, keep in mind too that we like to use the word mobile videos so that we're not necessarily steering students, especially our younger students, towards social media, but the mobile videos will be the same as like an Instagram reel or a TikTok without having to use those terminologies if uncomfortable with that. And then anytime you click on one of these product types in Canva, down below you'll have different sizes, and then it will always give 3 tips on how to use that product. And then below, that's where you're going to see some of your templates. You can also, so aside from clicking on videos, you can also go to the template marketplace. Sometimes the word marketplace makes us think we're purchasing something. Everything is 100% free in Canva. It's just the term we use. So within this marketplace, you can always come over here to templates. What I love here is when you click templates, it's going to open up to your education templates. So you'll see all different types of features in there. And I'm actually going to showcase that one. I'm going to go into my Canva homepage real quick. So again, here we can always click videos, and it's going to look just like this. It will show you that you can edit videos with ease. You can see the background remover, and then you'll see templates down below. If I come over to my side bar from the home page, this is where you can also go to videos and look from here if you wanted to. I do like this search option when we're looking for templates when it comes to education, because you can also go by grade level, and that's really helpful. This is something Canva is building out through the school year. So from subject to grade level to resource type, you name it, you're going to find it. And of course, you can always go from any presentation and turn it to a video. What that means is I can come right here to resize. If you remember, I was explaining that you can resize anything, but I can always take this presentation and just resize it to a video with one click. And what I like about this is you'll get the option to copy and resize or just resize. I typically copy and resize so I can keep my original and then have a new version as well. Okay, so before we go much further, I'm going to actually just go into a couple of things. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo because we are soon going to get into you guys doing some exploration here. And so I do want to just go through a couple of things. If I were going to go create a video right now in Canva, I would. Is there a question? Oh, maybe not. Okay, so from the home page here, I would always start from videos. This is my preferred way if I'm just looking for a simple video. If you click this first one, it's just going to be your classic video, but I can go ahead and create a blank one. You'll see it's going to open up to a blank canvas. On the left-hand side under design, you're always going to find your templates. So if you want to create a video, you will find template options. I do like that you have some cute examples in here. So you can see this one has a lot of pages. This is the Wild Chase storybook video, and it's a nice example on how students can do storytelling and creation in Canva. I also really like this one here. This template here is also another video. Looks like we're a little bit slow here. Okay, let's see. So I'll just kind of show you this one too, because it does break down some animation in Canva. But notice here, this looks just like a Canva presentation, but here's a video. And again, it looks a little bit different than maybe the classic video that we might be envisioning that might be on television. But when we're thinking here, we've got, I love how there are, we've got the vocabulary words, we've got the explanation, you've got all of your text bubbles coming up, and you can see everything just coming right through. And then you'll also see that that broccoli is animated. So I am going to show you how to do all of those features just so you get an idea of how you can animate in Canva. So this is just one version of a video. Now you may find, I'm going to actually get rid of these ones and we're going to start over with a different one. And let's say I'm just starting with a blank video and maybe I want to do something regarding science. So you will find that I can always add just a quick science beginning slide. And if I start from the beginning, again, this is my timeline. I can hit my play button and it's really just going to play. But within Canva, here we have another blank slide. And let's say the students are adding in their own video of something they did in science. So here in Canva, you can always add frames, and these frames will allow any picture or video to take the shape. So I'm just going to add one of these in. You don't have to use them, but just as an example. And I'm going to add some text that says, okay, so I'm just going to do solids, liquids, and gas. And let's now go down to, I'm going to go back to my elements and let's find so from here, let's say I'm a student in the classroom and I'm creating a video sharing about my science. I can now think about, the students could be creating their own video, but they could also be finding some things in here that might make sense to them, something that they're doing in the classroom. Now you'll see that this image here kind of got cut out. I can click here and go to edit photo. I can do a little cropping. So a couple of things, if anybody is new to Canva, keep in mind that your sidebar is going to add anything into the design. My top toolbar is going to do my modifying. So anytime I need to make a modification, like if I need to crop something, I want to click first, go to the top toolbar and do my modifying. If I want to add something in, I can go back to the sidebar. Maybe they also want to add in just the process of a solid, liquid, gas. We could add something in like that too. Maybe some ice cubes. So you can see how easy that is for a student to just begin creating a video. And now let's say I came in here and I wanted a video of solids, liquids, and gases as well. See if I can find a student, more of a student focused one. We'll just use this for the sake of an example here. So now, if I go back to the beginning, we've got our animations that are already in here. They're going to play. Right now, we don't have any transitions in. So in between slides, you can see my timeline. It just continues to go. But now I've also included a video in here. Notice that this right here is 24 seconds long. Let's say this is a student and we were actually taking a video here in Canva and the student added the video and maybe there was an announcement. What's nice about this is that if they wanted to right click, they can go to split page and maybe the sound was right here. So they're going to right click again and split page. So notice that I just split that up. And what I did is I right clicked anywhere that I wanted to do a splice or a split. And from here, I can now click that 3.5 second video where perhaps there was some kind of interruption and I can now remove that. If I want to add in transitions, I can click here in between and you'll notice that the top button right here where my cursor is, it'll add a page. So if I want to add a page, I can. The nice thing is in Canva, we do have an undo or Control Z. And so I can always undo anything, but then I can also add a transition right here too. So by selecting the icon below the plus sign, I can add in any kind of a transition in between my slides. So you can see a little bit about what those look like. Match and move wouldn't work in this one. I would have to have the same graphics or at least a couple of the same graphics on some of the pages. But let's say we did the flow. You can also choose, do you want it to go, like which way you want everything to go from? So you've got options in there. And of course, we can always choose to apply between all pages. So notice now that my transition just went between all pages. Let's say now I also wanted to add some audio to this. I can go back to my audio or back to my elements, and I can just type in audio. So if you now, once you type in audio, it is going to give you graphics, videos, and photos. But if I click audio, I'm going to be able to find all types of audio in here. One note on the audio, my timeline happened to be at the beginning. If it was down here, my audio would have fallen wherever the little black line is. So you do want to make sure that you adjust that to begin with. But if not, you can always drag this audio, so you can always move that. So let's hear what this sounds like. I don't know. I feel like we need something that's more, a little bit more adventurous for science. So you can play with that, but you can add all types of audio. Now, for those of you who are wondering, can I adjust my audio effects? If I click the audio at the bottom, so I'm just going to click that, I can always come up to audio effects. You can see I do have an option to fade in and fade out. Now remember, this is made, everything in Canva is made to be very intuitive, not just to adults, but especially to students. So keep in mind that everything should be pretty user-friendly in here. We can also adjust. So adjusting, so of course we do the audio effects where you can fade in and out. If you wanted to adjust, what that means is, like, let's say you don't need the entire song, but you want, you want it to start towards the middle. You can adjust that to start wherever you want. What I like about this is, like, the pre-K and kindergarten teachers who I've worked with, just to be able to create like end of the year slideshows. Sometimes they want to put in a song from one of the holidays, but we need to adjust it because sometimes the introductory music is so lengthy. So let's play with some of this. You can also turn your volume on or off. So you can lower that, and you can also layer audio. One last thing before we go into exploration is the recording studio. So keep in mind that in Canva, under your uploads, you can always choose to record yourself. That will open right up to the recording studio. So my camera is being used right now, but simply by clicking on the record, you will get a countdown. I'm going to share all about my science experiment on solids, liquids, and gas. So you can see how quickly I did that. I'm going to click done. Everything saves automatically in Canva. However, video, you do need to click save and exit. So if my video was not being used by Teams right now, then we would have been able to see me in here, but you can turn your camera on or off. The other thing I really like is that if I want to position this behind the ice cubes, I can go up to the top and click position, and I can always move that behind. And that way I don't have to see that. If I go to present, the play symbol will no longer show. So I do want to make sure that you guys have time to explore too. So why don't we go into your exploration time? And what that's going to look like here is we're going to have you guys go right to your Canva homepage. And from the Canva home, what I'd like you to do is click on videos and then begin just by opening a blank template. You can choose to add any templates in. You can design your own slide. If you're muted here in Teams, you'll still pick up the audio by using the record yourself feature. So you can play with it in Canva as long as I stop talking. So let's try that out. And then if it's possible, we can try to share back, but that'll be depending on time. But during this time, I would love for you to ask any questions along the way, anything that you may be curious about, but we'll give some time just right now to create and explore. And then on my slide, I do have a couple of things here, just so that you have 5 little tips on things you can play with your video. So I'm going to put a timer on for 6 minutes, which will give us just a small amount of time to be able to just get in and do some exploration. And I'm going to stop screen sharing just for a minute to make sure that if I'm not missing anything in the chat. Oh, here, I can actually move this. So we have just over 2.5 minutes. And once we go through your own creating, we will come back and see if it works for us to all share back to one of our collaboration documents. And then we're going to dive into different ways you can use video in the classroom. Okay, if you're creating, feel free, if you're able to create while you still tune into me, please do. I'm not going to have us share just yet because we may not have time for that aspect. I'm going to go through a couple more slides, and then if we do have time to share, we'll do it after that point because I do want to make sure that we hit on as much as possible here. But just keep in mind that in Canva, you do have, anytime you're in any presentation or a whiteboard, you do have a timer accessible at the bottom. So that timer, a new feature here is that you can also, like, let's say I wanted to add in 1 minute. And this is great for students who are creating too, but you can always put music on too. And we'll do that one. So just keep in mind, you have lots of options in here with this timer, which the music aspect of it is new. So let's go into some ways that you can use video. And just keep in mind, you're going to see a lot of things on the screen, but everything is going to be shared with you. So I don't expect you to read or memorize anything in here. But we do want to hit on just different ways that you can use video for instruction in the classroom as a student, and of course beyond the classroom, so that we can reach all stakeholders. And we're just going to show you how through the power of Canva. So educators, there are so many different ways. You can see here, yep, there we go. So it's nice that students can create those videos or teachers can create them either way. Explainer videos are also really helpful too. We can also leave student feedback using video. Some students, and that might not be for every single student, but depending on the learner's needs, it might be the most appropriate way. You can also see we have 10 other ways of how you can use video for instruction. And you guys as expert educators yourselves, you're going to have even more ways. But just think about it in terms of parent communication, right? Like, again, we create newsletters, but maybe there's a time in which we want our voice heard. Maybe we want our face seen. Sometimes that human connection can just bring everybody together. But for homework support, I used to have my students, and it was a center activity that they could, because number one, they were practicing math, but number two, they were also integrating technology and helping to build our class newsletter. But we would have a center where students could make mini tutorials of anything that we were doing that week. In ELA, if we were focusing on main idea, they might include a picture and a video recording of what the main idea is and how do we find it. Or maybe there's something we're doing in math. Maybe we're doing something on slope and we're working with high school students. They can also create video tutorials. Again, it doesn't have to take too long. It could be a 30-second, 1 minute, something that their peers can tune into. So lots of different ways we can leverage video in the classroom. And also when it comes to student reflections, this is one of my favorite. Just the fact that students can come in, they can add text, they can add graphics to make connections, but that audio recording, and again, showing their face, just being able to share, what are they reflecting on? What did I do well? What did I learn from this? What are my goals for my next step? Which is really great too. And then documenting class learning, taking pictures, videos, building that portfolio to demonstrate what it is that we're learning is a great way for students to reinforce what they're learning, but also share back out. And then here are some other ways, right? Vocabulary gifts, collaborative reflections with video, storytelling, imagination, you name it. You can do it right here in Canva Video. And of course, my favorite way to always use Canva is really to get students demonstrating their learning. One thing I found that as an educator myself, like I always say that technology is really great, but whenever amazing educators leverage technology in a meaningful way, that's really where we are going to accelerate, enhance, or transform learning. And so one thing I know is that in my classroom, when I was using technology with students to really deepen understanding, we noticed I'm not a huge advocate of always, testing and all of that, but at the same time, we noticed all of those scores go up. We also saw attendance go up, deepening engagement, because students also, the more we personalized, the more we gave them an option and choice for how they wanted to show what they know. It was amazing how much more they were invested in their own learning. I love this example here with this book trailer, so I just want to highlight this example. So I do want to do a quick example on how that animation was created. So you guys may have noticed there was audio in there, there was video. We saw that bear moving, and I just want to show you how quickly I could replicate that. And not because I'm like, oh, look how quick I can do it, but more because I want you to understand like how quickly even a student can create something like this. So if I wanted to find that background, I'm just going to type in forest, and even if it's not the same one, that's okay. But I'm just going to find a graphic-like picture. This is the same one. Now, a lot of people will try to drag this to fit, but you'll notice they're slightly different shapes, so it's not going to drag perfectly. However, if I right-click my mouse, you're always going to have additional options, and one of these is set images background. When you do, you're going to maintain all the imagery. And if you need to detach, you can always go to detach image. But instead of dragging, using that image to background is going to ensure that nothing gets cut out of your design. Now, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in my forest, I'm just going to add a bird instead of a bear. So I'm going to go to a graphic and I'm going to see all kinds of birds here. I'm just going to take this little guy. And this is kind of funny when kids play with these videos because, of course, they're going to make like a giant bird flying through the forest. But I'm just going to just kind of put him right here for a second. But I want to show you how we can animate in Canva with videos too, because this is a really cool one. Up at the top, we do have, remember, our top toolbar will be anything we want to modify in Canva. So if I want to add an animation, I can click animate. You're going to see right off the bat, you have element animation. So if I want to animate, if I wanted to load my page up with elements, I can have them all have the same animation. So if I want everything to rise or everything to pop, I can also do page animation so that everything on the page, that would not just be elements, but that would be my elements, it would be any shapes, any text that I also have on my page. But when we go to element animations and you look at the top, you have this little pink square with a B, and this is where we go to create an animation. In order to create an animation, I need to make sure that my object, that I've clicked on it, that I have the purple bars, so that I know this is the object I'm going to animate. From here, I can click animation. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fly my bird. Now notice he's got a path. And maybe he's going to land right here. Now there goes my bird. And you can animate more than one character on a page. You can actually smooth this out. You can go more steady. And of course, you know that you're going to have students playing with this that are like, I want my bird to go super fast. So you can really play with all of the different features. You do have motion effects too that might be appropriate for certain things, but it's that quick that I can create something like that. Now from here, keep in mind that I can add a voiceover. I can hide my voice recording from the back. Also, if you come up to present and record, this option here, if I were to do present and record, this is the second recording option. If I go this way, it will record a video, but I'll also get an individual audio file. So if I wanted the audio file, typically when I'm working with students, I just use my record yourself and I hide my recording in the back, but some people really just want that audio file. So just know that that's there as well. Okay, I'm going to keep on rolling a little bit because I know we're coming close here. And then of course, within Canva video, just keep in mind that these explainer videos, they're pretty straightforward, but essentially an explainer video is very similar to a presentation. You've got right here, you've got text. These are elements. You've got a video inside of a frame. And when you see everything move, That means you have page animations and likely transitions in there. So you'll find a lot of templates that already have those things built in. And sometimes you need to add them yourself or you want to swap them out. But they're pretty quick to build and put together. You can also create GIFs in Canva. Sometimes we don't think of GIFs in terms of academic, and some people might say GIFs. So I just want to honor that too. But keep in mind that this is a neat little way where students can take, here's a vocabulary word, here's a definition. One thing that I do hear from teachers is that they might say, oh, but I'm worried that this is time consuming. Keep in mind that we want to keep things novel in the classroom. We want to use something enough so that students become proficient, of course, because we don't want to, start using some types of technology and then constantly be troubleshooting. So we want something to be smooth and accessible. But then keep in mind that if we'd created an activity like this, it doesn't mean it's something we're doing every day. It's something on occasion to kind of change up something we might do traditionally. And again, there are so many other ways that students can use video to showcase their learning. From a public service announcement. I did a lot of project-based learning, so you could do news reports, video tours, portfolios, commercials, and more. And keep in mind that you can always use Canva beyond the classroom too. So to share out with the community, something on the school district website, just a way to be able to say thank you to anybody in the community or in the school community for the amazing work that they do. Actually, at a local school do this for teacher appreciation. So there's a small group of teachers that work together to have students share out like why the teachers, what they mean to them and what they're grateful for in the school. And then it was shared the week of teacher appreciation to everybody. So that was really neat. So we did some of our hands-on learning aspect. And I know we're coming a bit to a close here. So if you're back in that collaboration document, I'm not going to worry about sharing what we created, but if you can hop down to slide 5, I would love if you would. So if you come back to that collaboration, whatever link you clicked on to begin with, if you still have that tab open, and let's just grab one sticky note to reflect on one of the columns that you see here. So in here, on one of these, it's slide 4. I'm actually going to, we'll leave that. Okay, so some of you are on slide 4, but it has what takeaways do you have? If you go again to your elements and grab a sticky note, you can just reflect on one thing. Maybe one thing you loved, one thing you learned, and maybe one question that you have. And I know we're coming to a close here. And again, you've got the sticky notes over on the sidebar. So go click Elements and get a sticky note. And then you can add your response right there. And again, if you're newer to Canva, keep in mind, this is more of a deep dive session. So if we're newer to Canva, I invite you to participate in any of our sessions that we hold throughout the school year on getting started with Canva. We do have an essential skills series that does back up and it goes step by step with Canva too. I also know you have an amazing support system in your district, so that's great too. Lots of people here to help out. So just reading some of the comments that are coming in, I love the use of this multimodal instrument, allows students to actively engage their learning and experience. How easy it is to create these videos. Yeah, and if anybody's not feeling that and they're like, oh, there's so many things to learn, remember that we're all learning, right? That's the learner journey. And it kind of puts us in the seat of like, what do our students feel, right? Like not everything comes easily to them too, but the more we engage, the better things become. And I really appreciate everybody, grabbing that sticky note and adding one comment in. It's fantastic. I love seeing the comments coming in. If anybody, when you grab the sticky notes, if they're landing on top of others, just know that they might land one on top of another, and then you can always take one to the side and then bring it back to the column you want to. Maria, I love that you're already thinking about collaborating with other teachers. I think that's the best thing to do. My team and I, we would break everything up. We would share everything. We collaborated because we were so much better together. The animation aspect is cool. I love that too. Yeah, the sticky notes are fun to use. So I try to get people in these with everything that we do. Okay, I know that we're at time, so I'm just going to do a quick wrap up of our very ending slides. And then if you are still adding anything to that document, feel free. I'm going to leave that open. And again, everything will come to you, all of the resources. So please just know that it's been an honor to be here with you. I'm always here for questions. I appreciate your patience as I'm kind of learning to use Teams today too. And keep in mind that everything within our slide deck is also linked. So I'll have that in the site, but also just know that we have a teacher resource site so that you have tutorials, student resources, and more. On Facebook, we have about 700 educators joining a day to our Facebook community. So we invite you to join that too. It's a great place to learn, connect, and network with others. And we also have guides on using Canva with your learning management system. That's always the best way to integrate and share with students. I'd love to hear your feedback as well, because that's how we always ensure that we're doing our best work, and we value that. So I thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see what you and your students create.